My first myth is another classic. It asks whether it's coincidence or purposeful that Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon and Echoes sync up with the films The Wizard of Oz and 2001: A Space Odyssey, respectively. This is definitely one of the greatest and longest running music myths of all time, as well as one of the most interesting discoveries made by stoners. Way to go, guys. Nobody's gonna argue whether or not these albums make a really great soundtrack and seem to sync up in a lot of ways with those films, but any intention behind it from the band side was perhaps put best by the Dark Side audio engineer Alan Parsons when he called it, quote, a complete load of eyewash, whatever that means. All of the band members have continuously and consistently denied any conscious effort to make these films sync up in any way. And really, it's just one of those happy accidents. There are tons of websites who are completely devoted to showing all of the different ways that they sync up, almost making it into a conspiracy theory. But there's no evidence on it being purposeful on the part of the band, so just enjoy it for what it is. Something pretty cool. My second question asked exactly what was going on right before the Grateful Dead started playing Turn On Your Love Light at Woodstock, where the guy seems to just ramble forever and ever and ever to an almost annoying point. Unfortunately, my go-to Grateful Dead scholar was not available to confirm this to me 100%, but I'm pretty sure I remember how this story goes. For those who don't know, this was the final song that the Dead played at Woodstock, and it went on for almost an hour, and it's a really good hour, trust me, great performance. However, before they dig into this song, there's a guy who's just rambling on stage. He's talking about basically some psychedelic vision he had. Go drugs! It is amusing for a moment, but it gets old fast, and he talks for a while. So who was that guy? He was just some random guy from the crowd who got up on stage, and back in those days, they weren't so quick to throw people off stage. Especially at something like Woodstock, where there was really no security, and I have a feeling the Dead didn't mind having that time to kind of get their act together before the last song. If anybody knows the identity of this guy, or I'm wrong, feel free to hop down in the comments and correct me, but from what I remember, just some guy who was a little too wasted and found an open microphone. My last myth asked if it's true that Columbia Records dropped 50 Cent from their label because they found out he had been shot. This is one of those incidents that in many, many ways sounds a lot more like a clever marketing scheme than anything possibly true. As if it were true, it would fit perfectly with the persona that 50 tried to portray when he was big in rapping. Now, it is true that 50 was dropped from Columbia Records right before his debut record, Power of the Dollar, was supposed to come out, and that album was scrapped. But was it because he was shot? Actually, it was completely because he was shot. At the time, the industry was still really dealing with all of the negative fallout from the deaths of Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur, and chances are they just didn't want this affiliated with another one of their rappers. So yes, after he was shot, he was dropped from the label. He went through a number of other smaller labels before finding his way to Shady Records. The rest there is complete history, but Columbia Records has never really refuted these comments, so I'm gonna go ahead and say, yeah, by all popular accounts, it's absolutely true. So those are my myths for this week. Be sure to check back here every Friday as I delve into some of the coolest stories in music history. If you've got a myth you want me to check out, email it to me at thedailyguru@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook right here, and I'll see you guys again next time.